You, of course, are listening to the MHA podcast. Why in the world would you play Isaiah McKenzie over your third-round pick, T. Higgins? Why? I like any quarterback that can make Will Fuller look good.
I love it. I think he's a top 20 receiver.
I mean, he is the Jamar Chase whisperer.
Oh, hell yes. Oh, my God.
You know, everybody loves Lamar Jackson.
Hated it.
I trust Derek Carr.
Come on. For real?
I know why you did. It's because you're crazy.
It's the dough of the week, and the games aren't even over yet. It's great. It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Patrick Mahomes. Looks so good. Kyle Pitts was bad. Stank.
It's not my shebang. Justin Jefferson.
So good.
We could call him Russell Wilson if you want.
Ooh. Well done, sir. That is good stuff. All of those guys have more fantasy points than Tom Brady. I'm laughing, but I'm crying at the same time. It's terrible. What is up, MHA owners? MHA podcast time here. And it's August 23rd. It's a Wednesday night. We're just 12 days away from the draft. Oh, man. Season is almost here. Eric Lansing with the usual suspects of Mikey Renault and Todd Diamond. 12 days, gentlemen, and we'll be drafting our fantasy football teams here in the MHA. Are we excited or what?
Absolutely, we are. Even Yahoo's like, come on, we ready to draft or what? They keep saying, tell the commissioner to get his shit going.
Come on, Mikey Commissioner. Get it all together now.
I'm just kidding.
We're all concerned.
Well.
I'd love to start, but
yeah, there's
there's one owner who's been texting back and forth with me for like a week and a half. Yeah, I'll get it done. Hey, Eric, I'm on my way home. I'll do it when I get home. Still nothing.
Oh, we have one owner that still has not signed up yet?
That is correct. We have 11 teams signed up and one that hasn't.
Who's
this MHA trivia?
Who is that owner?
Sounds like Mikey knows. I don't know if Todd knows.
Let me just take a guess.
No. You can take a guess, but you can't look at the page.
Okay.
And if you get this right, I was gonna say you could win MHA trivia, but it wasn't Dylan. You lost. It's G. Okay. Let's go, G. Get it together. All right, gentlemen. What are we going to talk about on this show? Well, we're going to continue our wide receiver wide receiver talk. Well, it's kind of part 2. We talked about 30 wide receivers last week, and we're going to get into, 20 or 25 more. We'll kind of see how time goes because we also got to talk about tight ends, baby. Yeah, tight ends are important. It's a position in fantasy football. You can't not have them like Mikey doesn't have in terms of relief pitchers in fantasy baseball. You got to pick someone, Mikey.
Yeah, Mikey, come on.
Do you really?
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you want to put a big fat 0 out there every week, you'd have to have some squad to be able to win games without a tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
and Mikey's going to say he's the man that could make that team happen.
Or,
if anybody's good, I believe in me.
Of course, Mikey's good. Of course, Mikey's going to say, I believe in me. But, isn't there a way, now granted, you'd have to redo the league, but isn't there a way you can't, it's a league where you don't have tight ends? Like, you can
I'm sure there are leagues that may not have tight ends, but what's the fun in that? Yeah. I like having tight ends and defenses and kickers. They're not the most sexy positions, but you need them. They score points for you.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, defenses and kickers. I'm all for that. That's that.
You'd rather have defenses and kickers than tight ends?
Yes.
Oh my gosh! Here we go.
I know.
Podcast off the rails already.
I know. I haven't even had my bold predictions for it. Yeah. So there you go. All right.
Let's get into some news.
I don't understand what the news is. It's just like, hey, here's a bunch of you can't fix that happened that was horrible.
I wish we could fix Todd. Anyway, Colts say Jonathan Taylor can seek a trade. However, the Colts want significant trade compensation. They want somewhere to the effect of a first-round pick and a couple of other picks, and sounds expensive. And if you just kind of compare it to what the 49ers traded to get McCaffrey. Well, they traded a 2nd-round pick, a 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick, and a 5th-round pick in next year's draft. So, man, Mikey, is this going to happen for Jonathan Taylor? Because he's up there. He's I don't even know if he's 100% like rehabilitated from his injury from last year. He doesn't have much leverage because they know they're trying to get rid of him. I don't know if I think Jonathan Taylor may be playing in Indy this year, if at all.
Yeah, pretty scary situation. Look, there's always going to be some team. It's probably somebody you're not thinking about that's willing to up the goods. I mean, do they get a Christian McCaffrey type haul? Honestly, like, I could see it happen. Like, Taylor's younger.
Is he?
Yeah.
I guess he's 24. I thought he was a little older than that, but all right, he's younger. Continue.
Yeah, so I mean, I think, I don't know if it'll be right away, but I think they could get a decent enough haul for him.
Man, I don't know. I mean, it has to be a team that, because like, I think the situation also with Taylor is that he wants a new contract, right? So not only is someone going to have to give up a bunch of picks to get him, they also have to kind of agree that they're going to re-sign him for buco bucks.
Yeah.
So, and then at that point, it's got to be a team that's in the mix for a playoff or a championship run. Like, I don't see like Carolina. I mean, I'd say Carolina because we just talked about it and them making the trade, but they're not going to trade for Taylor because they don't feel like they're going to win right now.
I would say I was thinking about a team that, that if I'm Buffalo, why not? I've got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I've got a great defense. I got a top 10 wide receiver. Why not Buffalo? I mean, Buffalo is really on that. Obviously, they're right there on the door to get to the Super Bowl and even win it. So if I'm Buffalo, why the hell not?
Do they have the cap? I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is probably a whole different discussion.
Well, they haven't paid. I don't think they've paid Josh Allen yet. If
that's coming up.
Yeah, and I know you're going to have to pay. Well, I mean, you're paying Stephon Diggs, but I don't know.
Tre'Davious White, they're paying him.
Oh, I forgot about White. Then I don't know. I'd still try to.
Von Miller, $40 million.
Oh, fine, yeah. Jeez. Okay, never mind.
They only have $5 million of space. I get your point, Todd. I really do, because I mean that's one of the teams I thought about that you'd think, well, they have capital to trade because they're trying to win now. They're trying to win right now, and they could use Taylor if he's healthy to take them to that next step. But I don't. If signing him to a long-term deal is in the mix, that might not be an option based on what I just saw on their salary cap.
Is it more of
a... They did up Josh Allen, by the way.
Oh, they did? Okay.
So I think it's going to be tough. I mean, it sounds like, who couldn't use a game-changing running back? But I think there's a lot more involved. Yeah, $117 million for Josh Allen.
Wow. Okay. Never mind then.
So yeah, he's got his money. All right. So we got to keep going here. We got a lot of wide receivers to talk about. Speaking of running backs, Dolphins rookie running back Devin Achane was carted off the field with a shoulder injury. Update says that he avoided serious injury, but will be back in a few weeks, but not on the field. I think that puts them on the kind of the 3rd or 4th in terms of depth chart, not getting reps. Something to keep an eye on though, as the season goes along. Maybe he steps up. Another rookie running back, Kendre Miller, we talked about on last week's show, I believe, that he went off the field with an injury, but he was back on the field, played in a preseason game, and even scored a touchdown. So for those interested in Kendre Miller, the Saints rookie running back, seems like he's all right, back out there producing. Another running back, but a veteran this time, Joe Mixon, found not guilty of aggravated menacing. Aggravated menacing. Haven't heard that before. An incident that took place in January, ended up getting not guilty result out of it. So anybody that was worried about him maybe getting suspended, that looks like that's not going to be the case. great for those who are interested in mixing. Another running back, a lot of running back news on here as I'm reading this. Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco, he's been dealing with a shoulder injury. They're saying that he might play in the final game against the Browns. So for those interested in Pacheco, looks like he's going to be okay for the start of the season. Some not good news. Seahawks rookie wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba that is set to have wrist surgery, or he's getting a second opinion. So he could miss 2 to 4 weeks if he decides to have this wrist surgery. I guess he's trying to get a second opinion somewhere, but not good news for the rookie wide receiver. And for those maybe who are on the Geno Smith train, it would have been great to have such 3 incredible wide receivers at his disposal. Looks like it might be just Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Commanders veteran wide receiver Terry McLaurin dealing with some turf toe. Not my favorite wide receiver in the world, but you always have a plan to take someone at some point. But this kind of dropped him in my rankings for me because turf toe could be a season-long thing where 1 week he might be okay, he gets back out there, realize he can't go. But turf toe is something that just nags, and I don't need nagging in my fantasy football. Last news, something I saw today, Mark Andrews was not at practice. Talk about tight end show, right? Coach Harbaugh says it's nothing serious and says, quote, just dealing with something we're kind of working through right now. I have no idea what the heck that means. I don't know if it's like a little nagging injury, if it's some sort of mental health stuff, if he's got some stuff away from the field that's going on, but you do not want to see that, as some of us have Mark Andrews kind of high in our rankings. So that is the news. I don't know if you guys had anything else, but that's what I saw.
One.
Go for it.
It was Corey Davis that retired.
Corey Davis retired?
Yes, he did.
I mean, he wasn't high on my fantasy rankings, but that was interesting.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Well, Corey Davis. Todd, you sound like you were going to say something.
I was just this is more just other non-fantasy one. But Randy Gradishaw, finalist. Just want to put that as then the Broncos nation.
Todd's excited about that for sure.
Yeah, so it's cool. I mean, obviously he's not in, but at least he got for the finalists. So that's cool because you know me, guys. More Broncos in the Hall of Fame. Let's keep getting them in the Hall of Fame. Let's go. I want the whole Hall of Fame just to be full of Broncos. That's all I want.
Full of Broncos.
Yep.
All right. So Corey Davis. Guess we won't talk about him on this show as a wide receiver, but I really wasn't in the notes anywho. But let's get into it. Christian Kirk. We talked a lot about Calvin Ridley last week. Where do we have him in our rankings? What do we expect out of him? But the number one wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars last year was Christian Kirk. Got paid a lot of money and actually produced pretty well last year. So how are we feeling about Christian Kirk? A lot of, I don't know, in terms of who's ranked higher, it's different all over the place. Some people love just the massive upside that Ridley brings to the table. Some people are concerned, well, he hasn't played in a couple years. So, Mikey, where do you have him at in terms of who do you have ranked higher between Ridley and Mr. Christian Kirk? And is it even close for you?
It's close. I mean, I have Ridley above him by 8 spots.
Oh, wow. That is not close.
Well, go ahead. when you're talking how many wide receivers we rank, it's not that big of a difference. At least I don't feel like it is.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just pretty much because of the upside with Ridley. Like, you're kind of in that area where like Kirk may be the safer option. He already has that pre-established relationship with Trevor Lawrence. I did hear Kirk's pretty much exclusively working out of the slot, if that means anything to you. But I mean, I just feel like talent-wise, like Ridley's the better player, and I am somebody that tends to go for more upside.
Yeah, I understand that. I think it's such a silly thing. Maybe it's a silly thing, maybe it's not. But Kirk has that rapport with Lawrence already. There's less he has to worry about. I know moving into the slot, but he played a lot last year in the slot too. And so, I don't know. I mean, I get it. I get it. He really was amazing in his first couple of years. He's only 2 years removed from 90 receptions, 1,300 yards, and 8 blah, 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 blah. Was it 8 touchdowns, I believe? I'd have to go back and look. Let me go find my notes here. 9 touchdowns. So it's only 2 years removed. It's been a long time since he played. And I don't know the situation of mental health and then the gambling stuff. And I have him projected really close. I feel like there's a lot of upside in that Jacksonville offense, and it looks like Trevor Lawrence likes to throw to his wide receivers. I was just looking at his other guys on his team as well that he likes to throw to. Talk about, what is it, Zay Jones, who is also in the mix and had 121 targets last year. So I love the upside really of both guys. But as I stand right now, and it could change as we get closer, maybe you hear more stuff out of camp. There's a lot of positive things on both sides in terms of Kirk and Ridley. But right now I have Kirk just a couple of spots ahead. And maybe that's the Mikey's always said in the past that Eric plays it safe more than others. So maybe that's why I have him up there. Todd, who do you have ranked higher?
I have Kirk, and it's 10 spots between him and Ridley. I'm more on the side of, well, Ridley hasn't played for a few years. It was interesting with Kirk was how much the Jaguars paid him. I think when that happened, I think you or Mikey, sent the text and was like, oh my God, Christian Kirk got this much money. And he at least showed last season that, you get a good rapport with Trevor Lawrence, and it worked, and it works. So, Kirk's earning every dime of that contract. So I just trust him a little bit more. Ridley is more, to me, a lotto ticket. If he can get back to what he was, back when he was in Atlanta, him and Julio, those years, then hey, that's great. But for right now, Kirk for me is the higher, is the higher running back. The higher wide receiver in this scenario.
Mike, do you want to say something? I thought I heard you. Chuckling or thinking about saying something.
I just want Todd to be honest. Kirk didn't burn you, so that's why he's higher.
Here we go.
This goes back to the burn unit of Todd Diamond.
You see, that'd be funny at the end of this, the end of the season, or I should just come up with a list. The all burn team. we could be a
lot of folks on that list.
Yeah, we could all just pick a player that has burned us in the past, and then that'd be cool. But anyway,
interesting. We'll see how it kind of plays out as we get closer to the start of the season and where they may go. I feel like it's just all over the place between how people view Ridley coming in. Let's move on to a lesser exciting situation in terms of Tampa Bay wide receivers. No more Tom Brady, folks. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin more of the PPR star. Mike Evans more of the touchdown and big play type of receiver. Good compliment when you have a good quarterback. But as we heard earlier this week or late last week, can't remember, but it's Baker Mayfield, right? He's leading the charge. He's going to be running quarterback over it. So, Todd, if you're drafting today, is it Mike Evans or Chris Godwin for you?
In any other year, I'd go with Godwin, but I have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin ranked right next to each other. I have Mike Evans just slightly one spot ahead of Chris Godwin. And I know that's kind of a little bit of a shock because I was always a big Chris Godwin fan, but I'm going with Mike Evans here because a little bit of the quarterback play. I just think, Baker Mayfield is going to look to Evans like, oh, it's big target. I'm just going to throw it up and let him catch it. Whether he goes for the big play touchdown or, a bigger play down the field. I think Baker Mayfield's going to look more to Evans than he is Godwin in this situation. Because we all know Brady prefers more of the dip in the more PPR type wide receivers, so he can just march down the field compared to the big wide receivers. Again, the Randy Moss situation, that was a different. That's all different level. But I just think Baker's going to look more to Mike Evans than he is Godwin.
Well, let's just remember that Tom Brady made Mike Evans look good too, okay? He had 13 touchdowns in 2020 and 14 in 2021. So, I mean, let's not just throw it out there that, well, he didn't like throwing to Mike Evans. Well, he maybe didn't throw 100 or throw 100 receptions or 150 targets his way, but he was still successful under Tom Brady.
No, yeah, I think it was just more
dip and dunk. Yeah, he was definitely a dip and dunk quarterback, but he did make Mike Evans look good too. So Mikey, you always wonder how that situation, like you're always trying to envision it, right, in your mind of how is Baker Mayfield going to run this system? Is he going to be more safe? I mean, the offense, let's be honest about Tampa Bay's Super Bowl chances. It's very small. It's very slim. They're not out there trying to make moves to make it to that level. They're just trying to they're spending a lot. They spend a lot of money on people that are no longer around, and they couldn't go out there and spend money to make this team an actual competitor. The offensive line's not good. Baker Mayfield does not do well under pressure. He can throw the ball deep, which is good for those who are interested in Mike Evans, but if he's not going to have time, maybe it's going to be more Godwin. How do you kind of envision Tampa Bay's offense looking this year?
It could be fun, and it could also be a disaster at times.
Yeah, I love disasters.
Yeah, you get a wide range of results. There's not going to be a lot of safeness, I don't feel like, with this offense. Baker Mayfield's never been safe. Let's see if this makes sense. So I have Evans and Godwin close to each other. I ranked Evans higher because I think Evans is going to be the higher point total at the end of the year. However, to answer your actual question, I would rather have Godwin. Just from a safety perspective, because Evans, like, I don't know if I could deal with having Mike Evans on my team. Like,
I hear that.
He disappears too often. And yeah, you're going to have these blow up spots. And when you do, you're going to win because these blow up spots are like real big blow up spots. But there's a consistency that he can't give you that Godwin can.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I have them ranked right next to each other too, because it could go either way. Baker Mayfield could get hurt based on that offensive line, and then we're looking, what's his name, Kyle Trask? Is that the backup over there? Actually, I have it right in front of me here. Why don't you just look at your screen? Kyle Trask behind him, who has not much experience running an offense. It's a tough situation. I hope I don't have to make that choice. I feel like Mike Evans is a bigger body, and Baker Mayfield can kind of sling it down the field a little bit. So maybe you go that direction. It's tough. I don't have him ranked really high, but right now I have Evans one spot ahead of Godwin.
But also too, I mean, and I know Todd Bowles is probably doesn't have this mindset, but you know, if I'm the Bucks, I'm not saying I'm going to tank, but if Baker does go down,
they're tanking.
Well, everybody wants.
They didn't do anything to make this team better this year.
Because everybody knows who everybody's going to tank for the number one pick. We all know that. And Williams. So, you know, if Baker doesn't, if Baker if Baker gets hurt and you have to put Trask in there, okay, fine. But if you're like, well, we can get a better, we can have a better option for next year, but that's for a different time.
All right, continuing on, wide receiver talk here. One guy that intrigues me, but I hate at the same time, and maybe this is just for my purposes. I looked through it, like who are some guys we should talk about this late in terms of wide receivers or around like the rankings of 30, 31, 32. And there's a guy that intrigues me, but also scares the crap out of me. And that's Brandon Ayuk. He's had some incredible games. But he also plays an offense that doesn't throw first, that plays defense first, that runs the ball first. And so for a guy who's not even the first option on his team, because you have the McCaffreys, you have the Debo Samuels, you have the George Kittles, but there's something about him, just watching him. Somehow he finds targets, he takes advantage of those targets, makes some plays. You're like, oh man, this guy looks good on TV. But is he getting enough to be fantasy relevant? What do you think, Miguel?
So, and that's just it. So you're absolutely right. There's a lot of he is a great talent, but there's a lot of you mentioned all those things that are working against him. When San Francisco had, the one big top 10 receiver 2 years ago with Debo Samuel, it was because guys like Kittle and Ayuk were hurt.
Right.
And so he got all that volume. So the only way for Ayuk to kind of lift himself into that next group of elite guys is to have injuries happen around them, because otherwise they're just going to share the load between McCaffrey, Ayuk, Kittle, and Debo Samuel. And you're, like you said, they just don't throw enough to where I've got him ranked 19th because I, believe in the talent, but yeah, I mean, definitely worries me that they just throwing is just not their first option.
I thought I had him ranked high at 34. I'm at 19. You definitely like him a lot more than me. But I mean, last year, 78 receptions, over 1,000 yards, and 8 touchdowns. It's nothing to sniff at. That's probably more 19-20 than it is 34-35. But the year before, 56 receptions, 826 yards, and 5 TDs. So I feel like it's going to be more that number than last year's number. But I think if you're a gambling man, which I am definitely not, you could play it and try and figure, well, McCaffrey's going to get hurt. He's been hurt a lot the last couple of years. Last year he played most of the games, but 2 years ago, obviously he was missing huge amounts of times. Debo Samuel, he can't stay healthy for anything either. So if you want to be a gambling man and take that risk and draft him high, then the rewards may be big for you. We're going to see Brock Purdy, who's now on everybody's radar. He's got tape. People know what to expect. They'll be adjusting to him. Can he adjust back? That's a situation. A quick stat I'll throw out there that I saw in something I read, but Ayuk drew 17.9 target share in 7 games played with McCaffrey and Samuel last year, which would tie for 51st among wide receivers. That's behind Curtis Samuel and Joshua Palmer. So stuff like that's like, holy crap. But then there's week he just explodes. And so, I mean, I'm sure his defense is trying different things to slow down McCaffrey or slow down Samuel or whatever the case may be. But yeah, that's a tough spot, I would say, for sure. I'm just going to keep rolling here, Todd. I'll talk to you about Ayuk off the air. But let me ask you about some second-year breakout guys. Guys that showed flashes of brilliance in their rookie year. We talk about Jahan Dotson or George Pickens or Drake London. Out of those 3 guys, who kind of intrigues you that maybe could have that second year kind of breakout where they kind of set themselves up for top 15, maybe top 10 type of production next season?
I'll go with George Pickens for the Steelers. Him and
Pickens, huh?
Yeah, and I think him and the quarterback for the Steelers.
Pickett? Kenny Pickett?
Pickett, yeah, Pickens. Instead, I know Pickens, and again,
no, I believe it's Pickett. Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett. There we go. Pickett. Anyway, Kenny Pickett, him and Pickens have a good rapport because obviously they came in the league together, and that's always, it's reality or fantasy. It's always a good rapport, and I think he can definitely he can take that next step and break out next year or this coming season for the Steelers, because again, they're going to want to Pickens is going to want to throw the ball. He's going to want to sling it, because I mean, we all know what happened with Najee Harris, but we're not going to talk about that because I want to
burn unit.
Yep, that's
Todd Diamond's burn unit. He was there last season.
That was a Butterfinger that was the Butterfinger got burned a little bit. And but I think
Butterfinger.
I mean, you could turn into a s'more,
right?
Yeah, turn into a s'more.
Why would it turn into a s'more? Is there marshmallows and a Butterfinger?
I don't know. You put a marshmallow on top of it, and then you make it a s'more. But anyway,
it's not a Butterfinger anymore. Continue.
Did you say s'more or schmore?
Schmore, schmore. Anyway, but I think he can definitely break out in the second year with the Steelers. I know you guys still have Deontay Johnson there on the other side, and he'll probably be the number one target. But I think Pickens will surprise a lot of people. So
Do you have Pickens ranked higher than Deontay Johnson? Just quick answer.
That's a good question. Pickens, let's see. Yes, I have Pickens ranked 28th, and I have Johnson ranked 30th. So it's not a big, yeah.
Mikey, you on the George Pickens train, or do you prefer Dotson or London?
I prefer Dotson.
All right, I hear you. Go ahead.
I like Dotson. I think he's, widely underrated. I think he's a really good receiver. I thought he had a pretty good year last year. As you said, McLaurin's already hurt. If you saw what happened in the Monday night game, Sam Howell looked pretty good. I know it was in a preseason game.
Yeah,
but he was throwing some darts out there. I don't know. To me, he's a really good receiver. I think that I have him and Drake London, Pickens. They're all kind of the close, but Dotson I have above those two.
That's perfect because that allows me to talk about Drake London, who I have ranked higher than the rest of them. So we're all kind of different on this. I think Ritter's looked okay. He hasn't looked tremendous so far in terms of what I've seen on social media and whatnot. But I think London, just had some amazing moments last year. He had 117 targets in an offense that likes to run first, which is always kind of like, oh, you don't want to go there. They want to run the ball first. And they just drafted that amazing running back to take the load, but they're going to have to throw. And he's the number one guy. Do you guys want to guess? Do you guys know who the number 2 and number 3 wide receivers in Atlanta are? Did Mikey just say no?
Well, no. I'm just saying it's kind of hard to, because realistically, it's not, if healthy, like as far as targets are concerned, like Kyle Pitts is going to be involved in there too.
Oh, we're going to go to the Kyle Pitts show. I guess we'll talk about him in a minute.
No, I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm just saying. All I'm saying.
Point is, the number 2 wide receiver for Atlanta is Scott Miller. And number 3 is Mac Hollins. For Christ's sakes, Drake London's going to get all the love. If you want to throw the tight end Pitts in there, fine, okay. And, Bijan Robinson's going to get some carries as well. But this dude's a talented dude. To be able to put up 72 receptions and 800, close to 900 yards, I feel like he should be the guy. If we're talking about out of these 3, he should be drafted first.
I'm not going to badmouth Mac Hollins. He's okay.
Oh, come on. Get out of here. But is he ranked in your rankings right now?
No.
Okay. We're about 33 minutes into this. I'm going to try to pick up the pace here. Back to you, Mikey. Talk about guys finally breaking out. We've been waiting for these guys to really shine, and they just haven't done it. Guys I threw at you: Gabe Davis, Kadarius Toney, and Allen Lazard. Out of those 3, Mikey, who do you think has the best chance to really kind of show what they're made of?
Ooh, he had to give us some real crap on this one.
I was wondering if I picked them and Mikey would say none. Next question. But out of the 3, who do you have ranked the highest?
All right. So considering I don't even have Kadarius Toney ranked.
Oh, come on. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't have him either.
What?
So
I have him ranked.
Well, that's too bad for you.
Oh, come on. Go ahead.
So out of the 3, I have Gabe Davis ranked 1 spot ahead of Allen Lazard. I have Gabe Davis 45th in my rankings. Allen Lazard 46th. So those 2 are right neck and neck with each other. Like, I mean, honestly, I don't want any of them. I just, none of the 3 are just, none of them are appetizing at all.
Disdain for these guys. You have to draft some of these guys at some point, right? You get down to those last 4 or 5 rounds, you got to pick backups. These guys will get drafted.
Yeah, I'm sure that they will, but
so Gabe Davis, that's your pick.
It is not anything that you want to worry about any of these guys having to play, without the exception of like emergency or a bye week.
Oh my goodness. So your advice, because like that's why we do this show, right? I mean, we do it because it's fun and we like to talk about it. It makes us work harder in terms of finding our stats and whatnot. So, but we want to provide assistance to the rest of the MHA owners. And your advice is don't draft any of these guys.
No, my advice is none of them are breaking out. That's my advice.
All right. Todd, do you feel the same?
I mean, first of all, you've been better off if you put Jerry Jeudy in there. That would probably have been.
Well, Jerry Jeudy, we've already talked about. We're past those 30. We did talk about Jerry Jeudy.
I don't think we did.
We didn't talk about Jerry Jeudy on the last show?
No, we didn't.
Maybe we just talked so much about him when we're together that I lose track. But point is, we all have Jerry Jeudy in the top 30, right? Right. Yes. And so we're talking about guys past the 30th. We're trying to help the owners talk about guys that aren't on the top 30. We can't just draft the Jerry Judys, the Metcalfs, and the Calvin Ridleys all the time. We're going to have to find backups for these guys.
I'll help the owners. Don't draft Kadarius Toney.
Okay.
Todd, do you feel the same way? You don't want to talk about any of these guys? Because we could just go to tight ends if you guys are done talking about wide receivers.
I'll just say, I mean, out of all those, I had Gabe Davis ranked 49 just because.
49th? 49th.
49.
That's not that bad. I had him 45th.
Oh my. All right.
Because
so why would go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Because at least of anything, he's attached to Josh Allen, so that helps his case a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I'd rather Marquise Brown, Zay Flowers, because at the end of the day, all the targets is all going to go to Stephon Diggs. I mean, yes, and when we get to the tight ends, the little Buffalo rookie here is going to be me. So, all right,
go ahead. Sorry, no, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt.
No, I'm just saying. All I'm saying is, it's just Gabe Davis is. I know. Well, you know what Mikey's saying too. So, Gabe Davis, his case just helps just because the fact he is attached to Josh Allen, so that helps his case. And I say that about whether it's running backs and obviously wide receivers. Who is your quarterback? Who are you attached to? What kind of quarterback are you attached to? Because if you're attached to a one that's an MVP type candidate and everything like that, that helps your case. But I just have some of the wide receivers.
So wait a minute, Todd.
Okay,
Todd. Yeah. Wait a minute, because I was with you for a second.
Yeah,
for a second, up until you started saying that. The only reason is because he's attached to Josh Allen. In fairness to these other two losers, Tony's attached to Mahomes and Lazard is attached to Aaron Rodgers, who you were just glorifying last week.
First of all, I have Lazard 55th, so I ain't glorifying anything. But it's, if anything, the reason I have them ranked so low and why I still kind of I hype them back up is because of who their quarterbacks are attached to, but that doesn't always mean they're going to have the production that maybe a wide receiver that's attached to a lesser quarterback. Like, okay, just example. Okay, Adam Thielen, for example, and that's only 5 spots, but okay, he's going to Carolina. He's got a rookie quarterback. Obviously, it's gonna be some growing pains, but at least Adam Thielen has shown he can be a top guy. Okay.
Oh you picked a guy that's worse.
Oh, good Lord. Talk about someone that doesn't have a quarterback.
I understand, but he can. But sometimes too.
What he was like top 10 in routes run, and didn't put up fantasy stats last year. Because look, I love the guy too, but come on. He's like 40 years old. He has no separation in his route running anymore. the best thing that he can do is catch the ball within 3-4 yards of the line of scrimmage into the end zone. That's all he's going to get. He's always been a touchdown guy. But even that, with a Carolina team that's not going to score a lot of points, come on. And back to the Gabe Davis stuff. The Bills threw 574 times last year, which is low. I think that's going to go up this year. But let's just take that number. All the targets are going to go to Stephon Diggs, right? You know how many targets Stephon Diggs had last year? No, it's not in your notes, but I have it here. It's 154. So there are 420 targets left to go. They got to go somewhere. So they're not all going to Stephon Diggs. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm so frustrated. Okay, let's just continue on. Let's go to tight ends. Let's talk about something a little more exciting. Maybe not for Mikey, but we're going on because we're 40 minutes in. So we have about 20 minutes to talk about tight ends. And so now I have to get my page up and tell you kind of how the tight ends finished last year. And so, of course, Travis Kelce kind of lapped the field, really. Played in 17 games, finished first, 242 total points. The next guy on that list, TJ Hockenson, who had 162 points. And he played in 17 games as well. But, of course, Travis Kelce, a unicorn, 110 receptions, close to a little over 1,300 yards receiving, and then 12 touchdowns as well. Finishing third last year was George Kittle with 159 points, 60 receptions. I believe it was a career-high 11 touchdowns for the San Francisco tight end. Finishing fourth was Taysom Hill, of course, and our league has tight end eligibility, but also threw the ball. He had 13 completions for 2 touchdowns, and also ran the ball quite a bit, 7 rushing touchdowns. Only had 9 receptions, which I thought was interesting, but the running and the completions kind of helped his total a little bit. Behind Taysom Hill, finishing fifth, was Mark Andrews, 141 points and 15 games played, 73 receptions, 847 yards, 5 TDs. Behind him is Evan Ingram. In Jacksonville, we already talked about all the love that Trevor Lawrence gives out to the rest of his team, and he benefited a little bit. I mean, I guess for tight ends, that's a lot of it. 73 receptions, 766 yards, and 4 TDs. Behind him, Tyler Higbee of the Rams, 113 fantasy points, 72 receptions, just 3 touchdowns, but benefited a little with Cooper Kupp out of the mix with the injury. Behind him, Cole Kmet from Chicago benefited with 7 touchdowns last year and 50 receptions. Dalton Schultz, who is now with the Texans, last year with the Cowboys, 109 points in 15 games at 5 touchdowns with 57 receptions. Gerald Everett finishing in the top 10, 6, 9, 10. Actually finished 10th. 106 points, 555 yards, 4 TDs, 58 receptions. Njoku also 58 receptions, 4 touchdowns, and 628 yards. He finished 11th. And rounding out the top 12, Juwan Johnson from New Orleans. Of course, it would just seem like he would score a touchdown, and I think he even had a 2-touchdown week, if I'm not mistaken. So those are top 12 tight ends and how they finished last year. I think we all agree, and just based on the rankings here, we all have Travis Kelce number 1. Mikey, any concerns on Kelce's age heading into the season? I think he's up there at 33, but is he just the guy that just no concerns going into this year? Number 1.
No concerns. I mean, what else is Kansas City going to do? Throw it to guys like Kadarius Toney? No.
Very
you
good.
guys are sleeping on him. You're sleeping on him. Maybe I'll save it for next week's episode.
Okay.
I'm just giving you shit. That's all.
Okay.
I love it.
No, I mean, obviously, age catches up to everybody at some point. But, I mean, he has not shown any signs of slowing down just yet. Still has Mahomes attached to him. He's still going to get his, big giant target share. Like, none of these other tight ends come even close when it just comes to the sheer necessity that Kelce plays to his team. So, I mean, it's not close. Like, it really is Kelce and everybody else.
Yeah. In terms of targets, last 3 years for Kelce, 145, 134, and 152. That's wide receiver targets. And based on the rest of his squad, he's a stud. And the only thing, I mean, age, and I know this is more of a baseball thing, but like they're in the playoffs every year, and it's deep playoff runs every year. So I feel like it's an older 33, if that even makes sense, because his season's not over after 16 games and 17 games after, they added another game. It's like now we're going to the playoffs, and that's more games and more reps and more beat down of the body. I mean, we still have him number one, but that's just interesting. Todd, is there anybody that can take over number one spot over Kelce?
Well,
and maybe you don't think it's going to happen. I don't think anybody here can really think that anybody's going to take over number one spot. But if there is someone, who would you say would have the best opportunity? Who could come close?
Who would come close? Now, granted, I have him, the player I have ranked 4th in my rankings, but George Kittle, just because the way that San Francisco offense is and how many weapons there are, I think George Kittle could do it. Because for last 2 years, it was really kind of between Kelce and Kittle. Because some people had Kittle 1, Kelce 2, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, it was always Kelce that, lapped the field. But
Mark Andrews was the number one tight end 2 years ago.
So, yeah. But I just think on it. But like,
really, what was that, Miguel? I heard your little snicker there.
I thought you were yelling at me.
No, Mikey's Todd, you finish your point. I'll get back to Mikey in a second. A little snicker over there. I'll give you a snicker.
Anyway, no, I was just saying maybe George Kittle this year could potentially, could challenge Kelce for that number one spot. Now, I know obviously Kittle injuries too with him. That's always a little bit of concern with him as well. But I'll go with Kittle. From this 4th spot that he could leapfrog, Andrews and even my number 2 Hawkinson and leapfrog Kelce for number 1. Just a hypothetical. I don't think anybody's going to come close, but you never know. That's why fantasy football is so unpredictable.
I don't think it's a terrible answer. It wouldn't be my answer, but I don't hate it because for him to score 11 touchdowns last year, and he finished 3rd, as I mentioned before, and he missed a few games. So if they're super reliant on him, I don't think it's going to happen. But if anybody could, and he puts those touchdowns back up again, raising double digits, there's a good chance he could jump Kelce in that as well, because he's such a guy. He's so on and off, right? He's injury prone, but when he's out there, he can get you 2 touchdowns. So I totally get why you would say Kittle. So Mikey, who's your number 2 behind Kelce?
So Kittle was my number 2.
All right. So you can kind of even play up to this a little bit more.
Yeah, I just think that if he's healthy, that he's the most consistent of all the garbage that's left. So you just kind of...
So this is how it's going to play out, right? I mean, Mikey's going to draft Travis Kelce in the 1st round if he falls to him, right? And then he's going to draft all the wide receivers because he doesn't like anybody past 30. Mm-hmm. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I mean, I do mean to interrupt, but go ahead.
I don't know if I could do that in the 1st round. Maybe I could. I don't know. I doubt it. Oh,
come on. You totally would. If Kelce falls to you in your spot, you totally are taking him.
Honestly, I don't think I could bring myself to do it.
Oh, Mikey, come on.
A tight end.
After what he did for you last year, you wouldn't take him. You just said everybody else is garbage. So,
yeah, like I always play like who drops to me, and if there's somebody I think that's better, like it's a tight end. Like it's hard for me to do in the 1st round.
All right,
just being honest.
So Kittle, is there any concerns, Mikey? I mean, obviously the injuries things, that's we all know about that, but man, there's a lot of mouths to feed over there too. We just had a long conversation about Ayuk, and Debo's there, Mitchell's there, McCaffrey's there. They run first, defense first. They were seventh fewest pass attempts last season. Is there even enough volume where he could get up to number 2?
absolutely there is. Like, I mean, we're not talking about receivers here. Like,
Yeah.
Tight ends suck so bad that even the volume that he does get will put him up there. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, I'm sure you have had to go through, but tight ends suck. They're terrible.
But yes, they're not exciting as the top wide receivers, the top running backs, top quarterbacks. I get it. But if you're not, you just said you're not going to draft Kelce. You may not draft Kelce if he falls to you at that point. And he's probably not going to get back to you on the other side in the second round. So you have to make a decision on who's left. So you're doing homework, you're doing research. There's got to be things you like about certain guys and don't like about other guys, and why you have these guys ranked higher. Unless you're just going to have a hat that has just random tight ends in it and you're going to pick your tight end that way, there's got to be some sort of rhyme or reason to it. And you're comparing them to each other. You're not comparing them to what Travis Kelce's done or what Stephon Diggs has done or whatever. It's about, well, you got to make the most of what you got. And so there's reasons why you like Kittle over Waller or Kittle over Hawkinson or Kittle over Andrews.
Yeah. I like the fact that when he's playing that he's just more consistent than those guys. That's what I like about him.
Todd, why do you like Hawkinson?
The fact of the offense that he's in too as well. Obviously Justin Jefferson is going to be the main focal point of that offense. We all know that. But I just think Hawkinson, when it comes to, first of all, they have him projected 5 touchdowns. Yeah, he'll at least get close to at least 8 or 9 touchdowns as well. Because I mean, when he came over from Detroit, I think it was going from Detroit to another team. I mean, obviously everybody's hyped up on the Lions, but different story for a different day. But I just think Hawkinson, especially in an offense where the focal point will be on Justin Jefferson, that'll open up more for him to either get more targets. I mean, they have 110 targets. Try about 130. I think the targets will definitely go up 20-fold for that. And 847 yards. Yeah, he'll get. I think he'll at least get close to 1,000. Because last year he had 914, and that was getting traded from one team to the other. Yeah, he gets close to 1,000. So that's why I like Hawkinson, especially the offense he's in, and they're gonna throw the ball because Cook is gone. Okay, Alexander Madison, excuse me. We'll see. He's gonna be the main back. So I just think they're gonna throw the ball a lot more, and those are gonna turn into touchdowns.
I would have liked Hawkinson if they did not draft Addison to throw into that mix as well. I don't know how many passes that Alexander is that the running back? Why can I'm
Alexander
on his name right now.
Yeah,
but
Alexander
so like he doesn't catch a lot of passes, so I like that Hawkinson's there to maybe take some of them short routes. But I just don't like that they drafted Addison, and I think that's going to hurt Hawkinson in his targets. But I have him third, so I like him too. And I'll say I have Andrews number 2 as Mikey Snickers on the other end there. I know he's a Lamar guy, but I love that they got an offensive coordinator that's going to open things up on the offensive end. And I understand that Lamar's a big reason. I know this goes back years that Andrews, even with Lamar, maybe not be great, but Andrews was keeping pace with Kelce in those first 6 weeks in terms of points. And then once Lamar went down, obviously it wasn't as good. In fact, it was not good at all. But the one thing I heard on a podcast that excites me to have Andrews, if he ends up on my team this year, is that in terms of tight ends, a lot of what they do is block. Mark Andrews was asked to block 1 time in all of 2022, which means even on run plays, he's out there taking the defense away because he's out running a route. And so that's what I want from my tight end, whoever it is, that they're out there running routes more than they are asked to block. So I can always appreciate that. Mikey, you want to say something about Andrews before I go on to the next question? Snicker boy.
The only reason that I snickered about Andrews because you love the fact that he did it that 1 year, which we talked about in last year's podcast, the extenuating circumstances with Lamar Jackson not playing.
Right, Huntley.
That's why. Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't even Huntley. It was Josh Johnson.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But yeah, I mean, Andrews is fine. Like, he's not going to disappoint you. He's not going to wow you because Lamar Jackson's going to be playing quarterback. He'll be fine.
Watch. He'll wow you this year. We'll see.
All I heard was you always complaining about him last year when you had him.
I complain about a lot of stuff. I probably complained too much, honestly. But, I mean, he was incredible the early part of that season. And then he wasn't. And then that's probably when I was complaining the most. But I complain about everything. Let's continue on here because we're about, we have 5 minutes. Let's get through this quickly. Mikey, Kyle Pitts, any hope that he ends up being, I don't know where you have him ranked, but can he be a top 5 guy? You have him 12th, so maybe not. But I mean, is there hope for him in that Atlanta offense?
No, I don't really dig the quarterback. The team runs way too damn much. So no, I don't have a lot of hope for Kyle Pitts.
I don't know, 68 receptions, 1,000 yards 2 years ago. Just 1 touchdown though. That doesn't seem great. 59 targets in 10 games. I mean, he was our bust of the year, right? Or at least close to it.
He's always the potential.
The potential.
You could call him Vernon
Dangerous
Davis.
Word. What's that?
I said call him Vernon Davis.
Vernon? Oh, I don't know if he's that bad. No. Todd, Darren Waller, quick thoughts.
Obviously he's going in a situation where he might be the main target for Daniel Jones, I mean, next to Saquon. So I had Waller top 5. And I always say, new scenery, sometimes does the body good, and I think mentally he will. I guess I just think he will be the main focal point because the wide receiver for the Giants, I mean, just like when Mikey described all the wide receivers, the breakout wide receivers that were that's what I pretty much think about the wide receivers in New York. So so Darren Waller could be that focal point in the passing game. He could be probably going to think I'm high when I'm about to say, but he could be a potential like, hey, Travis Kelce, just in the sense, not talent wise, but just in the sense of we're going to just force feed this man the ball and see if he can get touchdowns.
Colin Darren Waller, Travis Kelce light. Interesting. We talked about Kittle already. Mikey, so I asked you guys to rank Freiermuth, Njoku, and Evan Ingram. I believe you have Evan Ingram ranked higher than the rest of the two. Anything you want to say about Evan Ingram, or is he just garbage? Like everyone else?
Well, he fits in with the rest of the garbage, but he did come through down the stretch. I mean, he was a big part of Joe's team and his resurgence towards the end of the year. Kind of found a connection with Trevor Lawrence down the stretch and started to find some consistency for the first time in his career. So, yeah, he's okay. I had him just out of Freiermuth. Njoku, I mean, shouldn't even be drafted.
I think we have to board bet this. I think that's so ridiculous. Todd, you have Freiermuth 11th. Anything you want to say about him?
Freiermuth is interesting just in the sense, he's kind of that prototypical Steelers tight end, big wide receiver, not, really not athletic. But it's kind of like a Heath, what was the tight end? Heath
Miller?
Heath Miller, yeah. Heath Miller type where, okay, he's not the most athletic, tight end in the world, but he'll get you, he'll get you those late touchdowns and and so forth, but he's not going to wow you with, with a lot of catches and everything like that. So that's where I kind of put Freiermuth in that category.
All right, so David Njoku. Why do you hate David Njoku?
Why would I like him? He's garbage.
He had 80 targets last year. That's a lot more than some of the guys we've talked about already. And if we assume that Watson, who you even kind of appreciated on the quarterback show, gets any kind of better, his numbers are going to go up, which are better than top 10 numbers. And for you to have him not drafted behind some of this other garbage, like Sam Laporta, are you kidding me right now?
Are you killing me right?
Kidding me? Whatever the case, that is.
I said it's all garbage.
So you just lumped them together after 10?
So
you don't think he can finish as a top 10 tight end?
No.
Then let's board bet it.
Yep.
Good. Done.
So Todd, how you feel? Well, I mean, based on your rankings, you don't have him. Well, you have him 14th. So what do you want to say? Do you want to say Njoku finishes as a top 10 tight end? Yes or no?
I'll say yes. I'll go.
Great. I feel worse about this. No, I'm just kidding. I think you're disrespecting David Njoku. I understand he hasn't put up the most greatest of numbers, but he kind of had a breakout year. And what changes? Kareem Hunt's even gone out of the mix. He's going to get more targets. Gosh, we're up against. I was going to ask you guys to do sleepers. I'm sorry. What's that?
I was going to say, if that's his breakout year, then okay. All right.
Well, I mean, it's all garbage to you, so it doesn't matter. Unless they're putting Kelsey numbers, it doesn't matter, which is not the case. You got to have a tight end on the team, and then we're not all going to get Kelsey.
True. And Njoku's from the U. Just saying.
It keeps getting worse and worse. All right, we're over an hour. We got to stop. Todd, what's on next week's show?
We're gonna talk about some bold predictions, some busts, some sleepers. I mean, am I gonna bring back the infamous Patrick Mahomes 50 touchdowns, throwing touchdowns, and 20 rushing touchdowns? Will I do it? You got to just stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I love the tease.
I think Eric already gave one of his bold predictions.
I don't even think it's a bold prediction. I think that's common sense.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. David Njoku, one of Eric's guys, apparently. Guys, thanks for coming on this Wednesday night. After we do next week's show, then it's the draft, and then we'll have our draft show. Man, it's coming up. We're all kind of fine-tuning our rankings, and we'll be in it. We'll be in the thick of things. So cool. Guys, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Of course, MHA owners, we'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in to the MHA podcast.
Absolutely, we are. Even Yahoo's like, come on, we ready to draft or what? They keep saying, tell the commissioner to get his shit going. I'm just kidding. Absolutely, we are. Even Yahoo's like, come on, we ready to draft or what? They keep saying, tell the commissioner to get his shit going. I'm just kidding. I'm just. Well. Oh, we have one owner that still has not signed up yet. Who's well? Who who is that owner? Oh, we have one owner that still has not signed up yet. Let me just take a guess. Just one little. Who's well? Who? Okay. Who is that owner? Dylan. Let me just take a guess. Just one little. All right. Okay. Okay. I'm a Dylan. Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh. All right. Okay. Mikey's. Mikey's. Yeah, Mikey. Come on. Let's go. Yeah, Mikey. Come on. Let's go. I mean, isn't there? Of course, Mikey's good. Of course, Mikey's going to say, "I believe me." Isn't there a way? Now, granted, you'd have to redo the league, but isn't there a way? It's a league where you don't have tight ends? Of course, Mikey's good. Of course, Mikey's going to say, "I believe me." But isn't there a way? Now, granted, you'd have to redo the league, but isn't there a way you can't it's a league where you don't have tight ends? No, defense. You can just put an extra. No, it is. Yeah, no, I agree. No, defenses and kickers. I'm all for that. Yeah. That's Well, yeah, no defense. Yes. No. No, I know. Yeah, no, I agree. No, defenses and kickers. I'm all for that. I haven't even had my bold predictions for it. Yeah. So there you go. All right. Yes. Okay. Okay. I know. We haven't. We're on. I know. We haven't even. I haven't even had my bold predictions for it. Yeah. So there you go. All right. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It, 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 mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would say I was thinking I was thinking about a team that that if I'm Buffalo, why not? I've got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I've got a great defense. I was thinking I got a top 10 wide receiver. That why not Buffalo? I mean, Buffalo is really on that. Obviously, why not? They're got right one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I've got a great defense to get to the Super Bowl and even win it. I got a Buffalo, top 10 wide receiver. Why the hell not? Why not Buffalo? I mean, Buffalo is really on that. Obviously, they're right there on the door to get to the Super Bowl and even win it. So if I'm Buffalo, they haven't paid. I don't think they paid Josh Allen yet. So yeah, and I know you're gonna have to pay. Well, they haven't paid. Well, I mean, they haven't paying paid. Stephon I don't think they've paid Josh Allen yet. But I don't know. I mean, so yeah, and I know you're gonna have to pay. Then well, I mean, I don't know. I'd still try to. You're paying Stephon Diggs. Oh, fine. Yeah, but geez, I don't know. Okay, never mind. Oh, I forgot about White. Then I don't know. I'd still try to. Oh, fine. Yeah, geez. Okay, never mind. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. 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 Is it more of an? Mm-hmm. Oh, they did. Okay. Hmm. Oh. Is it more of an? Oh, they did. Okay. Well, okay. Never mind then. Hmm. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, okay. Never mind then. Okay. Okay. I was just gonna. No, let me see. I was just gonna. Okay. No, let me see. I was just this is more just other non-fantasy one. Just but Randy Gradishaw, finalist. Okay. Just want to put that as then the Broncos Nation there. So that's cool. I mean, obviously he's not in, but at least he got for the finals, so that's cool because Randy Gradishaw, me guys, more Broncos in the Hall of Fame. Let's keep getting them in the Hall of Fame. Let's go. I want the whole Hall of Fame just to be full of Broncos. I mean, obviously he's not in, but at least he got for the finals, so that's cool because me guys, more Broncos in the Hall of Fame. Let's keep getting them in the Hall of Fame. Let's go. I want the whole Hall of Fame just to be full of Broncos. That's all I want. Yep. I have Kirk, and it's 10 spots between him and Ridley. I'm more on this on the side of Ridley hasn't played for I have Kirk a few years. 10 spots. I mean, between it was interesting with Kirk. Was when how much the Jaguars paid him. I'm more on this. I think on when that happened, Ridley hasn't played for you or Mikey a few years. I mean, it was interesting. Like, oh my God, Kirk, Christian Kirk got this much money. Like, when, how much the Jaguars paid him. I mean, he at least showed last season when that happened. That, I think you or Mikey, you get a good rapport with Trevor Moore, and Christian Kirk got this much money, and it worked. So he at least showed last season every dime of that contract. So I just trust him a little bit more. You get a good rapport with Trevor Ridley Lawrence. More to me, and it worked. And a lotto ticket, and it works. So if Kirk's earning every dime, every dime of that back to what he was. I just trust him a little bit more. Him and Julio. Ridley is more to me those years. Then hey, that's great. But for right now, Kirk for me is the higher. If he can get back to what he was, back, back when he was in Atlanta, the higher wide receiver, and Julio, in this scenario, those years, then hey, that's great. But for right now, Kirk for me is the higher, is the higher running back, the higher wide receiver, in this scenario. There we go. You see, that'd be funny at the end of this, the end of the season, or I should just come up with a list. The all burn team. There we go. We get all. Yeah, we could all. You see, that'd be funny at the end of this in the past. The end of the season, or I should just come up with a list. The all burn team. We could all. Yeah, we could all just pick a player that has burned us in the past, and then yeah, that'd be cool. But anyway. Mm-hmm. 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 In any other year, I'd go with Godwin, but I have Mike. I have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin ranked right next to each other. So I have Mike Evans just slightly one spot ahead of Chris Godwin. And I know that's kind of a little bit of a shock because I was always I have Mike. I have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin ranked right next to each other. I'd go with Mike. I'm going with Mike Evans here because slightly because a little bit of the quarterback play. And I know that's kind of a little bit of a shock because I was always a big Chris Godwin. Baker Mayfield is going to look to Evans like, oh, it's big target. I'd go with Mike. I'm going with Mike Evans here because catch it, whether it's just because a little bit of quarterback play touchdown. Or bigger play down the field. Baker Mayfield is going to look to Evans like Baker Mayfield, big target. Look throw it up to let him catch it. Whether he goes for the big play touchdown, because we all know Brady a bigger play down the field. I think Brady prefers more of the dip in Baker Mayfield's going to look more PPR type wide receivers than he is. So he can just march down the field in this compared to the big wide receiver. We all know Brady Randy Moss situation. That was Brady prefers more of the dip in the more, but I just think Baker's wide receivers to Mike Evans march down the field than he has got compared to the big wide receivers. Again, the Randy Moss situation, that was a different, that's all different level. But I just think Baker's going to look more to Mike Evans than he is Godwin. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, I think it was just more about. Yeah. No. Yeah, I think it was just more about. Yeah. Hmm. 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 Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. But But also too, I mean, and I know Todd Bowles is probably not doesn't have this mindset, but if I'm the Bucks, I'm not saying I'm going to tank, but also too,
if
I mean,
Baker does go
I
down,
know Todd Bowles is probably not.
Well, everybody wants.
But if I'm the Bucks, I'm not saying because we all because everybody knows who everybody's going to tank
does
for
go
for the number
down,
one for the number one pick. We all
well,
know that
everybody wants.
and
Well,
Williams. So if Baker doesn't, because we all if Baker, everybody knows who everybody's going to tank
gets
for
hurt, and you
for
have
the
to
number
put
one
Trask in
for the
there.
number one pick. We all
Fine.
know that.
But if you're like,
so
well, we can,
we can get a
if Baker
better-
doesn't, we can have a better option for
If
next
Baker,
year. But
that's
for a different.
if Baker
That's
gets
for a
hurt and you
different-
have to put Trask in there, different time.
Fine. But if you're like, well, we can get a better, we can have a better option for next year. But that's for a different. That's for a different time.
Ooh, love hate.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'll go with George Pickens for the Steelers. Him and yeah, and I think him and uh,
quarterback.
I'll go with George Pickens for the Steelers. Him and Pickens,
Yeah.
Pickens,
And I think
Pickens
him and
again,
quarterback
Pickett
for the Steelers.
Kenny Pickett. There we go.
Pickett. Yeah.
Anyway,
Pickett.
Kenny Pickett.
Instead, I know
Him and
Pickens
and
have a good rapport because
obviously
again,
they came in the league together, and that's always
Pickett.
it's reality or fantasy. It's always a good rapport, and I think he can definitely
Kenny Pickett.
He can take that next step and break out.
Have a good rapport because obviously they came in the league together, and that's always
for the Steelers because
reality
again,
or fantasy.
It's always a good rapport, and I think he's
going
to
to want to
throw
throw the ball.
He can take that next step and break out next year or this coming season
Harris
for the Steelers because again they're going to want to. Pickens is going to want to throw the ball.
Burn unit. Yep,
he's going to want to sling it
because
we all know happened with
that
was a Butterfinger that was the Butterfinger got burned
a little bit.
Burn
unit.
Yeah, I think
that's an.
I mean, you could turn into a s'more.
That
was a Butterfinger that was the Butterfinger got burned a little bit.
You put a marshmallow on top of it,
and but anyway, I mean, you could turn into a s'more. Yeah, turn into a s'more. I mean, actually, anyway, but I think he can definitely break out in the second year. With the Steelers, I know you guys still have Deontay Johnson there on the other side, and he'll be anyway. But I think he can definitely
be the number
break
one target.
But I think in the second year with the Steelers, I know you guys still have Deontay Johnson there on the other side.
I'll go with him.
He'll probably be the number one target, but I think Pickens will. We'll surprise a lot of people.
Let's see. I go with him.
Yes, I have Pickens ranked 28th, and I have Johnson ranked 30th. So it's not a big. Yeah. Pickens. Let's see. Yes, I have Pickens ranked 28th, and I have Johnson ranked 30th. So it's not a big. Yeah.
Yeah, North Carolina. Yeah, North Carolina.
Court. Court. I'm just saying. All I'm saying. I'm just saying. All I'm saying.
Hey. Hey.
You could. I don't have him either, so. Well, you could. I don't have him either, so. Well. Honestly. Dang. I know. Dang. You didn't know. Eric. You didn't. Eric. You would. I mean, first of all, you've been better off if you put Jerry Jeudy in there. That would probably would have been. Mike would have been. We haven't talked about Jerry Jeudy. You would. I mean, first of all, you've been better off if you put Jerry Jeudy in there. No. That would probably would have been. I didn't even mention the. Mike would have been. We haven't talked about Jerry Jeudy. Well, I mean, yes, and the man, and the man. No, I know. And I didn't even mention the. I know. Well, I mean, yes, and the man, and the man. I know. I know. Okay. I'll just say, I mean, I know. Out of all those, I had Gabe Davis ranked 49. Okay. Just because. Yes. 49. I'll just say, I mean, out of all those, I had Gabe Davis ranked 49. Just because okay. Because at least of anything, 49. He's attached to Josh Allen, so that helps his case a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I'd rather Marquise Brown, Zay Flowers. Okay. Because at least of anything, because at the end of the day, he's attached to all Josh the targets Allen, so is all going to go to Stephon Diggs. Yeah, I mean, I'd rather and Marquise Brown, Zay Flowers, Buffalo rookie here is because me. So, because at the end of the day, all the targets and is all going to go to Stephon Diggs. No, I'm just saying. And when we get to the tight end, just Gabe Davis, Buffalo rookie here is going to be me. So, well, you know what Mikey's saying too. So, Gabe Davis, his case just helps. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is it's just Gabe Davis is attached to Josh Allen, so that helps his case. And I say that about whether it's running back, Davis, and obviously wide receiver. His case just helps just because the fact he is attached. Who is your quarterback? Who are you attached to? What kind of quarterback are you attached to? Josh Allen. So that helps to a one that's. I say that about whether it's running backs and obviously wide receivers. That helps. Who is your? Who are you attached? I just have some of the quarterback. Who are you? Some of the wide receivers. Like what kind of quarterback are you attached to? Yeah, because if you're attached to a one that's an MVP type candidate and everything like that, that helps your case. But I just have some of the wide receivers, like I said. Just, okay. Yeah. Yeah. For a second. First of all, I have Lazard 55th, so I ain't glorifying anything. But it's. If anything, the reason I have them ranked so low. First of all, I have still kind of 55th, so I ain't glorifying anything. I hype them back up is because of who their quarterbacks are attached to. But that doesn't always the reason I have them ranked so low have the production. And why I still kind of that maybe a wide receiver that's attached to a lesser quarterback is because of who their quarterbacks are attached to, but that doesn't always mean
Adam Thielen,
for example.
They're going to have the production.
That's only 5 spots, but he's
going
to Carolina.
That's attached
got a rookie
to a
quarterback.
Like,
obviously, it's going to be some growing
just
pains.
example,
but at least. Adam Thielen, for example.
Adam Thielen
has
shown
that's only 5 spots.
He can be a top guy.
He's going to Carolina. He's got a rookie quarterback. Obviously, it's going to be some growing pains. But at least Adam Thielen has shown he can be a top guy. Okay. I understand, but he can. But sometimes too, he's just because all the balls were. I understand, but he can. But sometimes too, he's. I don't know what. Just because all the balls were. I don't know what. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. Very good, Mikey. Very good. Okay. Okay. Very good, Mikey. Very good. Okay. Okay. Well, who would come close? Now, granted, I have him, the player I have ranked 4th in my rankings, but George Kittle,
who would come close.
Just granted, I have him, the player I have ranked
the way that San Francisco offense
in my rankings
is and how many weapons there are.
I think
George
Kittle
could be
just
because
was last 2 years it was really kind of between Kelsey and
Kittle.
How many
weapons there are.
Some people had Kittle 1, Kelsey 2, whatever
George
the
Kittle
case may
could
be, but at the end of the day, it was always Kelsey.
that
Was last 2 years it was really kind of between
But
Kelsey and Kittle, because some people had Kittle 1, Kelsey 2, whatever the case may be, but
yeah,
at the end of the day, it was always Kelsey.
But I just think on it, but
could really
the field.
But if anything,
I thought you were yelling at me.
so yeah, but I just think on it, but could really. uh, anyway, no, I was just saying maybe George Kittle could maybe this year could potentially, could challenge Kelsey for that number 1 spot. Now I know obviously Kittle injuries.
No, I was just saying
maybe
him,
George Kittle
that's always
could
a little bit of
maybe
concern
this
with
year
him
could potentially
as well,
but I'll go with Kittle challenge Kelsey for
from this 4 spot
for that number 1 spot.
Now
Now I know obviously Kittle.
injuries
and even
2
my
with
number
him,
2,
that's always a little
Hawkinson,
bit of concern with him
and
as
well.
leapfrog,
But I'll go
Kelsey
with
for number
I'll
1.
go with
Just
Kittle.
just
from the
just
4
a
spot that
hypothetical.
he
I don't
could
think
anybody's going to come close.
Andrews and even my
you never
number
know.
2,
That's what
Hawkinson.
that's why fantasy football is so unpredictable.
and leapfrog Kelsey for number 1.
Just a hypothetical. I don't think anybody's going to come close, but you never know. That's what that's why fantasy football is so unpredictable. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, come on. Come on. Oh, Mikey, come on. Yeah, come on. Come on. So, Mikey, come on. So, if if the fact of the offense that he's in too as well. Obviously Justin Jefferson is going to be the main focal point of that offense. We all know that. But I just think Hawkinson, the fact of the offense that he's in too as well. Obviously Justin Jefferson is going to be the main focal point of that offense. We all know that. But he'll I just think Hawkinson at least 8 or 9 touchdowns when it comes to as well. Because I mean, when he came over from Detroit, 5 touchdowns. I think he was again. I think he's going from Detroit to he'll at least get to another team. I'm going to see at least 8 or 9 on touchdowns, but different as well. Because I mean, when he came over from Detroit, day. But I just think Hawkinson, especially going from Detroit to another team, will be on Justin typed up on the line. That'll open up more for him. Different story for a different day. But I just think Hawkinson, especially 110 targets, where try about 130. Justin Jefferson targets. That'll open up more 20 for him. For that. And to either get 147 get targets. I mean, 110 targets. I think he'll at least get try about 130. I think because last year he had 914, and that was going. That was getting traded from one team to the other. And he gets 47 yards. So he'll get. That's why I like Hawkinson. Especially the offense he's in, and because last year they're going to throw the ball, and that was getting traded from one team to the other. Alexander Madison to 1,000. Madison, excuse me. That's why I like Hawkinson. We'll see. He's going to be the main back. So I just think they're going to throw the ball a lot more. Cook is gone, and those are going to Alexander Madison, excuse me. Those are going to turn into touchdowns. We'll see. He's going to be the main back. So I just think they're going to throw the ball a lot more. And those are gonna those are gonna turn into touchdowns. Yeah, Alexander. Yeah, Alexander Madison. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Alexander. Yeah, Alexander Madison. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Obviously he's going in a situation where he might be the main target for Daniel Jones. I mean, next to Saquon. So
I had
obviously he's
Waller,
going
top 5.
in a situation where he might be the main target for
new
Daniel
scenery,
Jones. I mean, next to Saquon. So
sometimes
I had
Waller
does the body good, and
top
I think
5
mentally,
I always say new scenery.
I just think
Sometimes
he will be the main focal point because
does
the
the
wide
body good,
receiver,
and I think
mentally,
for the Giants
he will.
just like when Mikey described all the wide receivers.
I just think
breakout wide receivers that
he will be the main focal point because the wide receiver
think about
for the Giants,
wide receivers in New York.
just like when Mikey described all the wide receivers.
So Darren Waller could be that focal point,
breakout
wide
receivers that were.
that's
what I
pretty
pretty
much
think
think
about
what I'm about to say.
wide
But
receivers in
he
New
could
York.
be
So,
a potential
so Darren
like
Waller
Travis
could be
Kelce,
that
just
focal
in the
point
sense, not
in the passing game.
talent wise.
He could be
But just in the sense of we're gonna just force feed this man the ball
high when I'm about to say,
but
he
see
could be a potential Travis Kelce, just in the sense, not talent wise, but just in the sense of we're gonna just force feed this man the ball and see if he can get touchdowns. Yep, there it is. Yep, there it is. Farmouth is interesting just in the sense, he's kind of that prototypical Steelers tight end, big wide receiver, not really not athletic.
Freiermuth is interesting, just
kind of like
sense,
he's kind of that prototypical.
What was the tight end?
Heath, tight end, big wide receiver, not
Heath Miller,
really not athletic.
Heath Miller type, where
it's kind of like
he's not the most athletic, tight end in the
what
world.
was the
what was the tight end?
He'll get you. He'll get you those. He'll get
Heath
you those,
Miller,
those late touchdowns.
Heath Miller type, where
and
so
forth.
He's not the most athletic.
Wow you with,
tight end in the world,
a lot of catches and everything like that.
He'll get you.
That's where I kind of put. He'll get you those. He'll get you those
in
late
category.
touchdowns and so forth. But he's not going to wow you with with a lot of catches and everything like that. So that's where I kind of put Freiermuth in that category. Are you killing me right now? Are you killing me right now? Yep. Yeah. Yep. I'll say yes. I'll say yes. Yeah. I'll say yes. I'll say yes. I mean, and he I mean, and he and true. And Njoku's from the U. Just saying. And we're gonna talk about some bold predictions, some busts, some sleepers. I mean, am I gonna bring back the infamous Patrick Mahomes 50 touchdowns, throwing touchdowns? We're gonna talk about some bold predictions, some busts. Will I do it? Some sleepers. I mean, am I gonna bring back the infamous Patrick Mahomes 50 touchdowns, throwing touchdowns, and 20 rushing touchdowns? Will I do it? You got to just stay tuned. Yeah, just have to wait. Have to wait. Yeah. Just have to wait. Have to wait. 8. 8.